I mean, and you'll show people that believe in the globe this, and they'll be like, no, no, that doesn't make sense, but that's what you guys believe. Well, not specifically that. We don't specifically believe that. Then what do you guys believe? Because what that person just said makes 110% sense. And people are going to be like, no, it doesn't work like that. Just like the Polaris star stays in one position and doesn't move, and it just revolves around. If we were flying through space at a gazillion miles an hour or whatever they like to say, we would never see the same constellations. And you'll bring that up to around Earth, and they're like, yes, we would. No, because with your theory, we're moving through space. If we're moving through space at thousands of miles an hour, we would have left those constellations behind thousands of years ago. We would never see them again. That doesn't make sense. And I've actually said this to somebody, and they were like, well, the stars follow us. The stars follow us. Do you know how vast apparently space is? If space is so vast, like you guys believe it is, we would never see the same stars again. It doesn't make sense. And you'll tell them this, and they will look you dead in the eyes and be like, nope, the stars follow us. Okay, that means the stars are alive then. They just follow us then. That doesn't make sense. The sun's so big and has so much gravity, but doesn't pull in Earth. That doesn't make sense. What about Mercury that's right next to the sun? It doesn't get pulled in either. That's because the sun's local. It's here. It's not a cajillion miles away. That doesn't make any sense at all. All right, moving on. Anyways, let's see what we got. Here's a very good video that debunks everything that we've known.
Why don't we see any land when we're looking down at the ocean from the space station?
Well, because you're over top of ocean.
Okay, well, don't you think they could be fooling us with this picture?
Okay, I give you this.
Wait, watch the picture. Watch the picture.
I know that they airbrushed some stuff.
It's not airbrushed. This is us in our front yard.
Look at that.
Solar panel, and we tricked you, showing you how easy. They have zero budget. They have $65 million.
Easily tricked.
And I tricked you. What about this? NASA says, these are new planets. Okay. Would you believe? Why would you believe that?
Why wouldn't you?
Because they're frying pans. They're the bottom of frying pans. Again, zero budget. Zero budget. Here are 4 moons. And before the hand picks up the moon, tell me, is it sphere or not a sphere? Is that a sphere? Quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Well, it looks like a sphere, but it's actually a half a cup. How about this one? Is this one a sphere?
You're showing us half a sphere, then on all of them.
It looks like a sphere, but it's not either. It's flat. What I'm saying is, first, even if they were all spheres, it doesn't dictate the shape of the Earth. I've been lying to you this entire time. I'm on the space station. Okay? Prove me wrong. I'm on the space station.
And I'm in Hollywood right now too.
Yeah, but that's a painting. That's not even a real picture.
You're floating, Gage.
Look here. Here's is the globe. Here's the proof. I got this cartoon over here. All right. Here's is the globe.
No proof. No proof of anything. It's all easily made up. Easily made up. And people were like, nope, I saw it on TV. That's real. That's why the TV is a hypnotic box. Because you see it and you're like, it's got to be real. It's got to be real. Look, they had pictures of the Earth, everybody. The Earth is round. It's got a curvature. Look at it. That's CGI. No, it's not. How dare you? No, that's CGI. Sorry, but they tricked you easily. All of our ancestors said the world was flat. All of our ancestors said that there was a massive flood back in the day. They all have depictions of it. And you'll tell them this, and you'll show them the research, and they're like, nope, they don't have depictions of that, or they don't have the evidence of it. Yeah, they do. That's why we have the depictions of it. That's why we have the history of it. But you'll show them the history, and they'll be like, nope, there's no history of it. Then what the heck am I showing you right now? What, is this just nothing then? They're like, well, it doesn't line with my beliefs, so it's nothing. Excuse me 1 second, guys. Give me just 1 second. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's get back to the videos.
Have a listen here, guys.
One thing I really want your generation to embrace is that the Earth is a closed system.
Yep.
The Earth is a closed system.
The Earth is a closed system.
We cannot leave the Earth.
Hold on there, Mr. Bill Nye. So what you're telling us is that what our ancestors told us, that the Earth is an enclosed system, that we live under the firmament, the dome, God's dome, and cannot leave? That's so interesting, because I thought you said that we live on a globe spinning at 1,000 miles per hour in the infinite fucking vacuum of space, and that we can go to the moon and Mars and all this stuff. And God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. Genesis 1:7. That would mean that there's waters above, and why the sky could be blue. Here's how every single one of our ancestors depicted the Earth: an enclosed system. And then here's NASA, which in Hebrew means to deceive, by the way. Thanks for letting us know the truth, Mr. Bill Nye. Peace and love.
Even Bill Nye's coming out and saying it now. He's tired of the lies too. He's like, no, we're in a closed system. Because if you think about it, if the world is spinning at thousands of miles an hour and the world is not enclosed, everything would fly off the planet. That doesn't make sense. The only thing, it's like being in a car going 60 miles an hour, and then you're in the car, and let's say you have a fly in the car flying around in the car with you. You and everything in the car is going 65 miles an hour. But the moment you open up the window and you stick your hand or your head or the fly gets near the window, it's sucked out. That has to be the same thing with the Earth. That's why the Earth is a closed system. Because if the Earth was an open system and we were spinning at thousands of miles an hour, everything would fly off the planet. It has to be enclosed. That's the only thing that makes sense. That's common sense right there.
Here's a flat earth proof that might leave you questioning everything. The world's most powerful nations, who can't seem to agree on much, have somehow managed to unite over one thing: Antarctica. In 1959, they signed the Antarctic Treaty, and it's been unbroken ever since.
Wonder why.
Think about that. No land claims, no resource wars, no disputes, just complete cooperation. Suspicious yet? Here's where it gets stranger. Antarctica is essentially off limits. You can't just pack your bags and decide to explore it. Any visit must be scientifically approved and is tightly monitored. No free roaming, no casual expeditions, no exceptions. But why? What's so critical about a frozen, uninhabited continent that it needs this level of restriction? Now, consider this. Antarctica is vast, remote, and one of the least explored places on Earth. Despite that, it's locked down tighter than a vault. You can't freely fly over it, and sailing to its edges is practically impossible. Yet for over 60 years, no country has broken the treaty. Even in a world where nations are constantly clashing over territory and resources, Antarctica remains untouched. Doesn't that strike you as odd? Let's dive into history for a moment. Captain James Cook, one of the greatest explorers of his era, attempted to circumnavigate Antarctica 3 times. He traveled an estimated 60,000 miles along the icy perimeter, only to encounter an endless wall of ice, towering and impenetrable, stretching as far as the eye could see. No openings, no pathways through, just an unyielding barrier. If the Earth were flat, this would make perfect sense. That ice wall could be the ultimate boundary, holding everything in and keeping us from venturing beyond. But here's the real question. What's on the other side? Is there more land? An uncharted world? Or could it simply be the edge of everything we know? Now, let's think about the ice wall again. If the Earth is flat, it acts as the perfect enclosure, preventing ships and planes from wandering too far. And the fact that no one is allowed to cross it, that's a layer of secrecy that raises some serious questions. What are they protecting? Is it just frozen wilderness, or is there something far more significant beyond the ice? Whatever the answer is, it's clear that the truth about Antarctica is wrapped in secrecy. And the more you think about it, the more it feels like we're being kept from something much bigger.
Why did they sign that treaty if there's nothing beyond the ice wall? And you'll tell people that, and they'll be like, people can go to Antarctica. Yeah, but you can only go to Antarctica in specific places. You can't go where you want to go. Like if I went there and I wanted to go towards the ice wall, I'd probably be shot on sight. That's how they keep this. It is the biggest kept secret in the history of histories. Is the ice wall. What's beyond it? I believe there's more land beyond it. I think the world is way bigger than what people are letting off, or higher ups are letting off. I think it's way bigger. I think there's way more land out there, and we're stuck in this tiny little pool of land. And I have a little experiment to tell you guys about. Like, I think we've all done it before. The way that the earth was made, that God said it was made, it says it was a world that was void, basically just water. And then he put a firmament in the midst of the waters, and it divided the waters between the waters. Now, after he did that, he created land, and land came up within the waters. So it would have to be like if you're in a big bathtub and you take a bucket, and you take the bucket and you push it into the water, you're going to have air inside that bucket, okay? So within that bucket, let's just say that's the firmament, like dividing the waters between the waters. If you go all the way down, there's going to be water all around the bucket except for inside the bucket. And then you take dry land. Let's just say you have soil in your hand or whatever. You take dry land and you put it within the bucket and you raise your hand up in the bucket and open up your hand and there's soil. Obviously, the soil is going to be wet because you just put your hand in water with soil in your hand. But let's just pretend that it's dry. So you'll have dry land in your hand, and then you'll have air within the bucket. And the bucket itself would be the firmament because there's water around us everywhere. You have the waters above the firmament and the waters below, the great deep. That's what I think it's like. God created the lands, and he rose the lands up from the waters, and it became dry land. And around is the firmament. And around that would be the waters above and the waters below, the great deep. That's how I think it is. That was just my thought, my train of thought when it came to it. But let's get into another video. Let's see. Here's a good one.
This is gonna ruffle some serious feathers, dude. This is what people think we're doing, right? Allegedly, they say we're doing this right here, though. This fixing to make y'all so mad, man. Look, if we're blasting through space, look at all the planets. They're literally going around the sun, and it's all blasting through the daggum universe. This right here, it makes absolutely no sense. Every night, perfectly, it will spin perfectly. That right there, Polaris North Star, is going to be right there every single time. And if we're really blasting through the universe like that, barreling through space like this right here, that's the Earth. How? It doesn't make any sense. If you really stop and think about that, then why is it that's Polaris North Star, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that in the star time-lapse videos, it looks like they're spinning around us, okay? It's just kind of strange to me.
Because they're within the firmament.
Amazing video right here. And how on earth is Polaris just sitting there, man? And the stars are perfectly. If we're spinning, we would see different. Look, you can even see different ones all around this way off in outer space right then, dude. These are just the man. Come on, man. I'm seriously, man. Just try to think about it. Really try to think about it, okay?
And then you'll have people that will sit there and argue until they are blue in the face and be like, no, the stars follow us. The stars follow us? That means the stars are alive then. That means they know what we're doing and then they can follow us. That doesn't make any sense. People just do not want a God. That's all it is. They're like, there is no God. I'm like, yeah, there is. You're about to find out. You're going to find out. They're like, when I die? I'm like, yeah, or sooner, when you die sooner. If you never know, life's not promised. You never know when you're going to die. So when you do die and you do stand in front of the Creator, I don't want to hear no complaining. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to hear you complain, but God's not going to want to hear no complaining because you saw it. You knew that there was a God and you denied him. And that's the only thing that God cannot save you from is unforgiveness. He can save you from every other sin except for not believing in him. Let's keep going.
NASA is like 1,000% a satanic organization, and what I'm going to share with you is honestly going to blow your mind. When you're researching the occult origins of NASA, you're going to find this wild blend of Disney, Freemasonry, Nazi intelligence, and Satanism. Disney played a massive role in brainwashing the masses into believing in space travel. And Jack Parsons, founder of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratories, was a sex magic-obsessed dark occultist, heavily into Satanism. He was deeply connected with the infamous occultist Aleister Crowley, also known as the most wickedest man alive or the Great Beast. Now, this is nothing you'll get from a NASA press release or any textbooks. However, none of this is myth, but documented historical facts. So let's break it down into two parts now about Jack Parsons, because this guy was completely erased from not only history as a whole, but NASA entirely. In a sense, he is the real founder of the American space program. He wasn't just a rocket engineer, but a Thelemite occultist, a devoted student of Aleister Crowley and a high-ranking member of Crowley's organization, the OTO, the Ordo Templi Orientis, which was honestly one of the most satanic groups of the last century. Now, for those that don't know who Crowley is a very dark figure who has left their fingerprint on everything in our modern-day culture, from the music industry to Hollywood, and of course the very space program of NASA. Al Parsons was named the chosen successor of Crowley and literally declared himself the Antichrist, running sex magic cults, performing arcane rituals and ceremonies to summon spirits. He'd also partnered with the likes of L. Ron Hubbard, notorious sci-fi author and founder of the religious cult of Scientology. Yes, the one that Tom Cruise and all those celebrities follow. And they would later conduct these rituals and had a weird sex triangle between each other and some lady friends. In short, Parsons was obsessed with many things, but more importantly was getting rocketry into space, which he saw as very spiritual in accordance to his occult beliefs. He'd later die in a mysterious explosion and be completely omitted from the historical origins of NASA. However, they'd still honor his role in their ritualistic conception by naming a moon crater after him and naming their rockets after pagan gods, Apollo, Artemis, Saturn, and so on. All right, so let's get into Walt Disney and the Nazis' role. So after World War II, which was a false event manufactured by the elite to reset the world order, the US would launch Operation Paperclip, a secret program smuggling in thousands of Nazi scientists. Their war crimes would not only be erased, but they'd be rewarded into high-ranking positions into US government-sanctioned programs such as NASA. That's something you don't learn in school. So enter Wernher von Braun, top Nazi rocket engineer under Hitler himself, suddenly rebranded as America's golden boy space pioneer. What does Wernher von Braun do, right? He partners with Walt Disney, the man shaping the imagination of entire generations and future generations to come, and sell the idea of space travel. Now, before this propaganda campaign, the average person didn't even fathom the idea of space travel. They would use cartoons and documentaries to create their script for a new religion, space worship. And then this would create future propaganda films such as Star Trek, A Space Odyssey, Star Wars, Marvel, all the same propaganda to reinforce the same lie that you are a cosmic accident, Earth is meaningless, and space is your new god. Funny enough, Wernher von Braun's cemetery is actually in the city I grew up in, and it's interesting, he has a specific verse on his tombstone. Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Yeah, there's nothing to see there, I'm sure. Look, the truth is always hidden in plain sight for those with eyes to see, folks. And once you realize that space travel, and NASA itself, was born from black magicians, high-level occultists, Nazis and Freemasons sworn to secret oaths, you start to see what this is really all about, to disconnect man from God. And when you go deep enough down that rabbit hole and start to pull the thread on all these secretive Masonic orators and Kabbalistic cartels, you find that same goal. It is imperative to their power structure that we, the people, be deceived and never learn the truth about the current deception taking place, which is obviously contrary to the laws of nature and the Most High. For them, the masses must be deceived with every facet of reality, starting with the very ground they walk upon. You can lead a sheep to water, but you can't make it think. This message is for entertainment purposes.
That's what it is right there, dude. It's all a deception. The world is run by Satan. The world belongs to Satan. Read your Bibles. Just read the Bible. Satan is the god of this world, and he will do whatever it takes to turn every single child of God away from God. Because that is the only way that Satan can harm God, is by attacking his heart, because we are what he loves. But we are going to take a short break, and we're going to move this scenery somewhere else. So give me just 1 minute, guys. I love you. Thank you for sticking with me. All right, brothers and sisters, we are back in the car. Need a little change of scenery. But let's get back into the videos. What else we can find out? Give me just 1 second. I have to turn off my Bluetooth. There we go.
Downloading this ancient knowledge into random people throughout the entire world. People start questioning things that haven't been questioned in at least 100 years. We're all waking up to the deception because Flat Earth consistently brings people straight to God. It's like a veil lifts off their eyes and they just get flooded with truth. I don't know how it works, but I've seen it work thousands of times. I know that it's happening. With that, there's a little bit of censorship happening on social media with flat earth stuff being taken down or having trolls sent our way. But something that I think is even more powerful than flat earth, and something that has been so heavily censored on my page, this is a picture I took on my phone of Polaris when I was in Iceland. This is God's throne room. This is also where God watches us from. This is the center of the firmament. They do not want us to know this. They do not want me to spread this. This is a powerful piece of information, because once you know this, you know that God is sitting right above us. He's not in some other dimension or in some other solar system or God knows where. He is right above us. The heaven is his throne, the firmament, and the earth is his footstool. Every time I post about this, it's either taken down, I'm fighting back and forth with strikes and appealing them. You can pin 3.
The commercial just go on this thing? It doesn't matter. I have a video that's going to back that one up anyways. But, yeah, apparently God's sitting right above the firmament and the earth is his footstool. Which is interesting because the dream that I had a couple of months, or what was it? Probably a month ago now. The dream that I had a month ago, or 3 to 4 weeks ago, was the hands on the firmament. It makes so much sense. I'm going to show you guys another video that backs up this one here in a minute. But I'm pretty sure that the flat earth is true. It's every time someone hears about the flat earth and they start coming to it, it starts to open up their eyes to God. And the government is always trying to shut it down. Every single truth, like I said in my last video, every single truth that's said on TikTok gets shut down because they want to implement their demonic agenda into everything. Like you can become different genders, like transgender is good, gay is good. And the moment someone goes against that agenda, they shut them down. Instantly blocked, instantly banned. No, God's real. God is absolutely real. Let's watch another video.
Religious or non-religious, we have to match that with what we're experiencing in reality. In reality, planet Earth is spherical. No, bro, no. In reality, water takes its level. It also needs a container, and it is never curved. In reality, the sun rays are angled because the sun is closer than they're telling us. In reality, the stars are the same, and they have the same star pattern every single night, night after night, for thousands and thousands of years. In reality, I've seen both the moon and the sun out at the same exact time. In reality, I've been on planes, and there is no curvature. You don't live in reality.
Same.
You live in a virtual game system. You depend on nothing but CGI images. The news station that comes through the black screen. None of it you've seen with your own 2 eyes.
Yep.
Absolutely none of it. And you're calling it reality.
Yep.
This is where it's becoming a problem. You ever seen the movie The Matrix? That's reality at this point. Reality is the reason that the sun and the moon eclipse so absolutely perfectly is not because they perfectly are just distanced perfectly to do that. No, they are the same size. Everyone's always like, oh, the sun sets. No, it's perspective. The same way that the road looks very, very, very tiny all the way down there when you're driving, but as soon as you get up to it, it gets bigger. The same way the road disappears because you can only see so far. Same way we can pull the boats back in with zoom cameras that supposedly went over the curve. No, they did not.
Nope.
Every claim that you guys have that you guys say there isn't proof for, we've already debunked it, literally. Yep. You act like there's a bunch of flat earthers because we just like woke up one day and said, the earth is flat. Reality is there's not a single glober that has ever been to the moon, been to outer space. They've never seen a meteor hit. Oh, they have meteor rocks, but those aren't real meteor rocks.
Those are just regular rocks.
It's all a virtual game to our government. And we are the pawns. And the longer you stay trapped in their ideology, they have you. They have you exactly where they want you. Brainwashed and following like sheep.
That's actually a good thing that she just brought up. We were like, well, I've seen meteorites. You've seen a meteorite strike the earth. You've legitimately seen a meteorite strike the planet Earth. No, you haven't. Not at all. And there are a lot of people out there that will be like, yes, I have. No, you haven't. You've seen it on TV. How do you know what you see on TV is real? Oh, the government would never lie to us. The government lies to you every single day about almost everything. Are you sure about that? People are just so indoctrinated and brainwashed, they cannot see the hand and the truth in front of their face. It doesn't matter if the truth walks up and kicks them in the groin. They're going to be like, that wasn't truth. Dude, you're on your knees right now in pain. No. And that's legitimately what's going on today. It's absolutely crazy. Moving on.
Scriptures indicate God sits in Isaiah above the circle of the earth, centered above the circle of the earth, beholding all the creatures. And the Bible calls earth a circle. It says it takes shape like clay under a seal. It says it's fixed and immovable. It's not orbiting, it's not rotating, it's not flying through space. Tell me, how is a vacuum, which sucks atmosphere out, occurring with atmosphere and there's no barrier between the two? Tell me, how does water curve and hold to a ball? Well, you got to make up the imaginary gravity, all those things. Bible never teaches that. Bible says the earth is not moving. It says it's fixed and immovable. Satan comes up with, it's moving three different ways. It's spinning, and then it's orbiting, and then it's vortexing. Yet the star trails have remained the same for thousands of years.
Yep.
Do you understand? Fixed and immovable. That's the Bible. Earth takes shape like clay under a seal. You ever seen clay under a seal? That's a joke. Take some clay, push it under a seal. What do you get? Flat with ridges and mountains. Take shape like clay under a seal. What does Isaiah say? The book of Isaiah uses the word ball in Hebrew, not for the earth, and it uses the word circle, a completely different Hebrew word, for God sitting above, enthroned above the circle of the earth. Ezekiel says there is a dome over our heads, and that God is on his throne above that dome. Genesis 1 says, you look this up, the first word that would trigger us if we're going to believe the world's version of cosmology is rakia in Hebrew. It says that he created the rakia. Well, you've got to translate that properly. Sometimes the Bible will say vault or what have you. The King James comes closest. It says firmament. Why? Because rakia, and any true Hebrew scholar will tell you this, rakia is a solid structure. In fact, Job says that God spread out the skies hard as molten glass. So NASA's been lying since the 50s. They've been lying. The biblical cosmology and the worldly cosmology are two completely different cosmologies. Shouldn't surprise you. There's two kingdoms here on earth. There's the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan. And that ball nonsense does not exist. Creation points us to God according to Romans. Did you know that? According to Paul's argument in Romans 1, creation will point you to God. So what does Satan do? He goes after creation, obscures creation, hides creation. Oh, there's no firmament. The earth is not fixed and immovable. It's moving a lot, right? It doesn't take shape like clay under a seal. It takes shape under gravity formed into a ball. We call it the horizon because it's horizontal, and then we try and say, it's curved. Now, I know you've seen all the footage, but you have to see it on screen. You've never seen it with your eyes, number one. Number two, it's always from fisheye lenses. Always. GoPros, fisheye lenses. Being deceived. If you hold to the Bible, you won't get deceived. You'll sound stupid to everybody else, just like I sound stupid right now. But if you notice, I could care less. Because I believe the Bible, I don't believe my eyes over the Bible. I believe the Bible. But I also believe my eyes, and my eyes have never seen curved water stick to a wall. They've never seen atmosphere and vacuum touch each other, and the vacuum not suck the atmosphere out. It doesn't occur. You have to have a hard surface between the vacuum and the atmosphere. And if you start looking into NASA, you start seeing the space bubbles, which is just really just built underwater. Every time SpaceX sends up its beautiful rockets, that's a beautiful piece of machinery. But it's not going anywhere. If you notice the photography that trails it, it just makes a dome. And they go, that's because it's entering into the orbit, right? No, it's because there's a dome. And if you send it straight up, it'll just hit that dome and blow up. So you got curved. And that's why. And it comes back down. You go, it entered. No, it didn't. So you're being deceived.
Truth. Every time they send a rocket up into space, it always curves. Why is it curving if it needs to go straight up? People never think about that. They're like, no, it entered in. No, it didn't, because you didn't see it with your own eyes. You have to see it with your own eyes. The Bible is true. God is real. I always sit and ponder and think about, it's going to be a great day when all this, deceit is just lifted and God really does show himself. But it's also going to be a very scary day because you have all those non-believers out there. So many people that just do not agree with God because they love who they love or they believe what they believe. They've been indoctrinated since birth, so that's what they're just programmed to believe. They can't break the programming. And all those people that are just like, well, I do believe in God, but I want to do this. I do believe in God, but I want to do this. Well, you need to believe in God and then follow what he says. That proves that you love him. You can't just be like, I believe in God and go do off what you want. That's disrespectful. That's like to your parents. Your parents tell you not to do something, and you tell them you love them, and you go behind their back and you do it. How disrespectful is that? But it's just your parents, though. But you need to respect your parents anyways. But when it comes to God, the all supreme, almighty, knowing, and just all magnificent authority of this universe, and you want to go against him, God is all love, but there is a wrathful side to God because God has emotions just like a human being. We're made in his image. People get angry all the time. God is all loving. He is a psycho for love. He loves it. He loves it. He loves. He loves. He loves. He loves. But if you do not obey him, he is not going to force you into his house. He is going to let you live separately from him for the rest of eternity because that's what you chose to do. And you showed him that by living on this earth in a sinful manner. And when you do die, you stand before of the great judge. He's going to let you go off and live with Satan because Satan hates God. Satan disobeyed God. So Satan will live eternally away from God. And there's only two places that we can go. There is no purgatory. There is none of that. If you die in your sin, you will go to hell with Satan. You will go to the lake of fire with Satan. And the smoke will rise up forever and ever and ever on your soul. And you will never find peace. You will never find comfort. No communion. Eternal darkness. Eternal pain. God's going to let you live separately from him because he loves you enough to let you go. He's not going to force his love on you. You have to choose that. But what I was saying with the deceit is, when the veil is lifted and everybody finally learns the truth, all those non-believers out there are going to be so dumbfounded because they laugh in our faces right now. They laugh and they laugh and they laugh. But the moment the truth comes out and God reveals himself and splits that sky open, people's mouths are just going to drop. And it's going to be a sad day because those are the ones that are going to be left behind, and those are the ones going to be going through the tribulation. And they'll be like, I didn't think God was real. I wasn't shown God. Yeah, you were. Yeah, you were. People preach. You turn the channel and seen it. You've heard about the Bible. You've heard about Jesus. You've heard about this, and that. But you still chose not to listen. And I had a revelation this morning watching Pastor Phillips. He smacked me in the face with reality because I was falling away. It's the great falling away. It says it in the Bible. There's going to be a great falling away, and you can see it going on today. You can see it. And those that were in Christ strong are starting to fall away, like I was starting to fall away. But I was smacked in the face by Pastor Phillips, and he got me right back on the horse where I belong. God is the only way. People want to be like, there's all sorts of religions out there. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody gets to the Father except through him. Do not fear the devil. Fear God, because fearing God is the beginning of wisdom. God is the creator. The devil is the creation. Do not fear the creation. Fear the creator, the one that has the ability to do what he wants to with your soul. Sure, he's going to hand you over to the devil because that's his domain. That's where he resides, is hell. And I'm sorry, but there's no place that you can go except for heaven and hell. And if you choose to remain separate from God, you're going to go to hell with Satan. And you're not going to like it because it is unimaginable torment. Unimaginable. The torments there you cannot even think of or fathom. Let's move on. Let's see what we got here.
Being a Christian that believes that we live on a spinning ball that's flying through space is a faith problem. Of course, this is my opinion. No, I will not be arguing in the comments. I've done plenty of videos showing the Bible verses that prove it. There are over 200 Bible verses that support that the earth is flat and not moving, and that we have a firmament above us. And that is a dome, that's not the sky. And the story is that can only take place in a semi-flat enclosed realm. I have multiple Bibles that have flat earth diagrams in them.
Yep.
Righteousness is assigned based on faith in God's word. Enoch was considered extremely righteous and raptured because of his faith in the Bible, because he took God's word for everything. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Every single lukewarm openly tries to deny the semi-flat realm that God put us in. And consistently, the people that are so clearly close to God just casually accept, yes, we live in a semi-flat realm because God said so. How many verses are we told, believe God over man? God is the truth. Every man's a liar. Jesus is the word of God made flesh. Where does your faith stand if you think you're going to refute what God said with the word of a group of Scientology cult members that started an organization in the 50s? Serpent tongue logo, their name meaning to deceive in Hebrew, all of their satanic rituals, their origins, all of that. And you guys just try to smash it together with the word of God, and that just doesn't work. I have seen literally tens of thousands of people at this point start finding the truth in our semi-flat, immovable realm, and out of nowhere, God, like almost instantly, reveals himself to those people. They come from different religions, they come from no religion. Even lukewarms tend to get picked up and brought under his wing directly after they accept that the earth is semi-flat, immovable, with a firmament, and that we are being lied to. And not only does the Bible back it, but just observable science, using your senses. You know, you can't pick and choose what you're going to refute and what you're going to believe in the Bible. Because where does that end? Like, at what point does that come to the resurrection and then you throw the whole thing away? We need to have faith in God and have faith in his word, and that he can tell us the truth, because he is truth. He always tells us the truth. If Psalms 19:1 says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork, then if you deny the firmament, are you not denying his glory and his handiwork? I think that oftentimes people think that the only issue when it comes to believing is believing that Jesus died on the cross and rose and defeated our sins, and like that's our salvation. While that is the most important one for sure, you need to believe every word that God says to be considered righteous. So if you only believe in the one part that your pastor told you is essential, which obviously it is, but you don't believe really anything else, do you guys get where I'm going with this? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, I'm not trying to sit on a high horse or judge or anything like that. Whatever's more comfortable or whatever you like more, you choose to believe, even if it directly contradicts the word of God. And that just doesn't sit right with me.
That's because people want to sugarcoat the Bible and they want what they want. Well, I want it to be like this, so I'm going to twist the Bible in my way. No, you need to believe what God says in the Bible to be true. God is truth, absolute truth. God does not lie. Everything that Bible says is true. People would be like, so you're going to believe in a fairy tale Bible? You believe in a fairy tale science book. It's the same thing. And they'd be like, no, it's not the same thing. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. A great analogy that I like to use is like, we have testimonies from back then, and people saw, over 5,000 people saw Jesus, die and then rose on the third day. And people are like, no, that never happened. We don't have the history of that. We don't have the manuscripts of that. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. Look it up. They're like, no, I will never look it up. Why? If you don't believe me, why not search the truth for yourself instead of just going off of what someone else tells you? They're like, well, you're going off of what the Bible tells you. It's the same thing that you're doing. You're going off of what the science book tells you that some guy wrote. Some group members wrote. A bunch of cult group members wrote. It's the same thing. And here's the analogy that I like to use. It's like if there's an accident and the police show up, they get the first-hand accounts of what happened. They ask the people around the accident what happened. They get their statements, write all their statements down to find out the truth. With so many people collaborate together on what actually happened, they'll take that to court and they'll use that. They'll use that to testify against somebody. They'll use it to, incriminate somebody, like he did the crime, he's innocent, whatever.
It's the same thing with Jesus. He had all these people testifying that they saw Jesus die and then rose on the third day. He defeated death. He rose on the third day. Over 5,000 people saw Jesus walking around again after his death. What is the difference between then and now? Oh yeah, that's right. It's just time. Cops do the same thing nowadays, and people don't see it with their own eyes. They see it on TV. They're like, oh my God, that's right. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. I know it is because I saw it on TV. Okay, well, these people saw it firsthand. They saw Jesus die on that cross, and then they seen him rise on the third day. A bunch of females seen it. And back in the day, female accounts were not taken seriously whatsoever. But all of a sudden, female accounts have been taken seriously because they saw Jesus. Jesus was that important that they did not care if it was a female account. So the only difference between then and now is time. The same thing was done. People wrote this stuff down. Everything that they did, they wrote it down because Jesus told them to. Like, yes, I will write it down. People were like, no, they were illiterate back then. They were walking around with Jesus. How do you know they didn't have the ability to read and write? Just walking by Jesus or brushing against Jesus would heal you of your ailments. I forget what this lady's name is, but it was a lady that just had to touch his garment. She knew that if she could just touch his garment, that she would be healed from her afflictions. And she grabbed his garment and she was healed from his afflictions. And Jesus turned around and said, who just grabbed my garment? She was healed instantly. People saw it. People seen Jesus heal lepers. People seen him heal the blind, the sick. People that couldn't walk, he was healing them. People saw it firsthand. And they're like, no, nobody saw it. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Okay, you didn't see space. You never seen space. You never seen meteorites. You never seen anything like that. I've seen a meteorite rock in the museum. How do you know it's not just a regular rock? Oh, because the words on the thing say so. Okay, the Bible words tell me that God is real. So I'm going to believe them. Because when it does come down to it, and God does end up being real, you guys are so screwed. I'm praying for each and every single one of my brothers and sisters out there that do not believe in God. Please turn around and believe in God, because he is real and he is coming soon. Because Book of Revelations explains it directly of what's going to happen. Matthew explains exactly what's going to happen, how it's going to be in the end of days. And it's happening today. The great falling away is happening right now. How many people have fallen away from God? How many people are bickering and arguing with each other? The division that's becoming between people because some are gay, some are not, some believe, some don't. The division because of the immigrants coming in. Some believe it's the right thing. Some people don't believe it's the right thing. It's splitting people up. That's all it's doing. People just don't see it that way, though. They're like, no, this is right and this is wrong. It doesn't matter. Just love them anyways. You have to follow the law. You have to, okay? So if these people are coming into our country illegally, they need to be held accountable for it. Yes, still love them, but they have to be held accountable for their actions. And people are like, no, they don't. They're not doing anything wrong. Like I said in my last video, that is like the equivalent of me walking up on you and punching you directly in the face and being like, I cannot be held accountable for that, even though I just broke the law and assaulted you. But the moment I know that happens, they're going to be like, oh my God, he needs to be held accountable for that. I need to be held accountable for that, but they don't need to be held accountable for coming into this country illegally? That doesn't make sense. And just like the perversion of God with this female on female and male on male, it is a perversion in the eyes of God. Satan is allowing that to happen because it disrupts God's original plan of one man, one woman being married before you have sexual relations. And now having sexual relations is the norm now. You know that girl or boy for a month and you're already having sexual relations with them. That's not supposed to come until you're married. But of course, the devil has it to where it's normal. And if you're a virgin for so long or for your entire life, you're looked at as weird. It's not weird being a virgin. It's purity. It's a great thing. And God will reward you for it because you obeyed his word. And the moment these teenagers and these ones that just don't believe stand in front of God, and they're like, oh, well, why can't I do what I wanted to do? You're an evil God. God is not evil. He is all loving. Yes, he has wrath, and yes, he gets angry because his love for humankind is out of this world. And people are just like, no, he's evil because he would never send people to hell. No, you send yourself to hell because you disobey him. God wants you in his house. He's not going to force it on you. You have to choose to follow him and get into his house. Follow Jesus, get rewarded, and get put into his house under his wing in safety. If you choose to live your life full of sin, full of disobedience, you are going to go where the disobedient children go, and that is hell. That's what it is right there in a nutshell. It's like when the wheat and the chaff grow up together, sinners and the righteous grow up together, eventually the wheat and the chaff have got to be separated. And what happens to the chaff? It is burned up in the fire. God is old-fashioned. He's going to burn up the unrighteous in the fire because there's nothing else he can do with you. He cannot come into his presence. Sin cannot stand before God. That's why the devil was cast out, because he was the first prideful, hateful creature to ever exist. So he had to be cast out, because people were like, well, the devil was in heaven and he had sin in his heart. Yeah, but he was cast out with a quickness. He was cast out because he cannot be before God. Sure, he can come to and fro and talk to God, but he cannot reside there. He cannot stay. But moving on. Let's see what else we got here. I can get it to work.
A lot of us were huge into science fiction. You could fill a library with all the science fiction that I read over the years. I actually grew up being a sci-fi kid.
Absolute sci-fi book collection. I used to be a massive sci-fi nerd. I bought into all this stuff. I loved Star Wars. It was hard to become a flat earther.
Everyone has the same story.
Yeah, we all were globe earthers, in case you didn't know.
I was violently opposed to it. I was mad at people that would bring it up.
A friend of mine was posting all these things on Facebook. It was pissing me off.
There's no fucking way the earth is flat.
These people still exist? How can anyone think the earth is flat?
That's fucking insane.
Flat Earth,
Forgive the
like
language,
that
guys.
makes no sense. Like, then how does stuff not fall off the side? So I atheist for about 15 years.
I used to be an atheist up until 2015, when I mockingly began research on flat Earth. I was an atheist 39 years.
What about all these satellites they're claiming that are going up to space? Where are the waves going from your cell phone?
Everybody that's in the flat Earth, it was very hard for them to get into it and admit it.
I already had this thought of, what it was, a globe, and what they told us.
Everyone has the same story. When I first heard about flat Earth, I thought it was the dumbest shit ever. I thought it was a CIA psyop. It must be some kind of distraction.
God, this is a fucking nightmare. I can't be a flat earth person.
Exact same story. Everybody. No one just believes it right away.
So when my dad decided to change to be into a flat earther, I took that as a challenge, and I tried to prove him wrong. But in order to prove him wrong, I had to know what the actual argument for the flat earth was.
I had a brother that was trying to convince me about flat Earth, and I actually set out to prove him wrong. So I had to dive into a bunch of rabbit holes.
What is wrong with the world? Why is the world going absolutely crazy? Land that flat Earth just laughed it off from, okay, this is completely crazy. But I looked into it anyway, and I thought I'll get a good laugh.
The only problem with the flat Earth rabbit hole, or whatever you want to call it, is it's kind of hard to beat.
I'm 57 years into believing that the Earth is round.
Started going into the research, and boom.
The flat earthers, they have a lot of good, compelling shit to say.
Oh, fucking stupid. Unbelievable. Like,
How the fuck are we supposed to handle all of this?
There's nothing compares. Nothing compares to the whole quote-unquote flat Earth research rabbit hole.
Not a lot more to it than I think people would first assume.
Look into it like you're investigating. Just look into both sides. There's a reason why it's becoming huge. There's a reason.
I have to question my own worldview and my own belief system, and thinking flat Earth was stupid, which is where most of us start out at. I never would have assumed I would have become a flat earther. So you have to realize that all these people that do, they have to literally be convinced against their own belief system and their own worldview to get to the point that they're at now.
There's no way that it's a bug.
And like so many others, I ask myself, what else are they lying about?
And it turns out the answer is everything. I came to the realization that we've been lied to, that the Earth was in fact a flat stationary plane and not a spinning water ball. That opened up the possibility of a creator, which in turn shattered my atheism. My trust in the Bible was restored, where I before I didn't have any faith. Why I trust the Bible when you couldn't even trust page 1? Now I can trust page 1.
God damn it! The Earth is clearly not a fucking spinning ball.
Wait. Why does it all make sense?
And then I got interested in what does the Bible actually say? Oh, if it was right about that already from the start, maybe it's right about the other parts also regarding the endings. Turned out, yes, it was. Gave my life to Christ in 2016. And didn't look back.
Why is this all fake? Official NASA website releasing footage that's CGI.
Maybe really this is lost knowledge. Maybe it truly is lost knowledge. What humans are, what our planet is, and what this is all about.
There's nothing more mind-blowing than realizing that we've been lied to the point where we don't even know where we are. I can't think of any other experience topping that.
This can't be reality.
Even like the so-called smartest people in the world will all be like, these flat earthers are retarded,
You know, no one with a brain believes anything about the flat earth. It's absurd.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, they know nothing about science. And I don't want to get mad at them. It's just that it's ridiculous. Plus, flat earthers know that once a person says that, they're basically just admitting that they either haven't even bothered to look, or they're not smart enough to understand that the math doesn't add up. One of the two things.
The world is just so filled with lies, it's actually quite sickening and disturbing.
It turns out the world is run by a bunch of Satan-loving liars who have us so bamboozled that we don't even know where we are. It turns out we've been living in their science fiction. You see, when you tell a story that begins with something exploding out of nothing, about a gajillion years and a whole lot of chance, you don't need God for that story to make sense. In fact, you have to do some disingenuous gymnastics to write God into that story. But if you see that we're really living in something like a cosmic terrarium, you can't avoid the conclusion that we're in somebody's terrarium. Try to write God out of that story, I dare you. The level of deception that has fooled multiple generations into believing that we're on a spinning water ball in a vacuum. And everything in our experience screams the opposite. The level of deception demands that we confront the existence of evil, because that's what their science fiction is, and that's its purpose. Would they construct such a massive lie for no reason? No way. This massive lie has an equally massive purpose from beginning to end. It's the very foundation of a scientific worldview that aims to make God irrelevant.
And I bet that it plays a critical role in the great deception in the times ahead.
And heard the gospel, and grew up in the Bible Belt, but I could not reconcile that worldview with the one that I'd already implicitly accepted, which told me that the world is a meaningless accident. At the end of the day, I think the inherent cynicism of the heliocentric universe that exploded from nothing is fundamentally incompatible with the gospel of Jesus. I believe we are very carefully, intentionally, and lovingly placed in a world that is not just some random piece of a vast creation, but it's the very heart of creation itself. So I pray that you reject the lie that would have you believe otherwise.
I've been lied to so much by my government, by the education system. I don't trust any of it.
I
I don't trust any of it, quite frankly. It's all fake and gay.
Guarantee you, NASA is lying to us.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the truth. And it sets you free.
I've never seen a former flat earther. Nobody's ever seen what the actual shape of the earth is. And then they're like, you know what? Neil deGrasse Tyson really does give me a good argument because it's literally ridiculous.
Once you go flat, you never go back. You've seen both. Like, we know your model better than you guys.
Not everybody can be robot polisher.
Listen, all I'm saying is if they tell me after I get my degree, after all of that trouble I had in so many of these classes, man,
They tell me the earth is flat.
after all that, I will never forgive them. I'll tell you that much. For 4 years, okay? That's 4 years of my life right there.
I'll go on the record right now. If I find out a week from now that the earth is flat, and this has all been a lie, okay? I'll have a major crisis in terms of what else could be said.
Oh yeah. I mean, it would be a big coming to Jesus moment for sure.
Oh yeah.
What?
For me, it would change everything that I understand about the universe, and it would be a humongous upheaval in my existential existence.
So, you know, if I imagine myself already being there, then yeah, you know, all of history, all of everything. Like,
What else could be a lie?
You know, it's kind of sickening just thinking about how much the government has actually lied to us. It's actually heartbreaking because they think they own this world and they don't. It belongs to God. They think we're nothing but parasites. You also in the Matrix where Agent Smith is talking to Morpheus or whatever when he's got him hooked up to those probes, and he's like, human beings are a virus on the world, on the planet. That's literally what the higher ups think we are. And the chemtrails are probably chemicals that they're spraying us with. Who knows? I don't know all about that, but it's probably what it is. We're the pests. And there's too many of us. And that's why they're scared of us, because if we do find out the truth, they know their game is over. They're standing on our backs, and if we stand up, we're going to fall off. They have to keep us divided. If people would just get together and work together, this world would be so perfect. But we can't because the government always divides us. And people can't see it. Just like that video said, like, a lot of people don't even want to look into it. They'll claim it's true. They'll claim what they know to be true. But the moment you challenge those claims and you give them evidence and tell them where the evidence is to look it up, they will not look it up. They're too stubborn and too prideful. Just like the devil was. So it is what it is. You know, all you can do is pray for these people. Because God's going to come back eventually and people are going to be so dumbfounded. It's sad. Got a little bit longer, guys. Just bear with me. Sorry about that. Just like I said the other day. That's all they did. Took a flat mat and rounded it out and said it was a globe. Yep. Not fooling anybody with that.
Flat
earthers believe the earth is flat and there's an impenetrable ice wall that goes around the disk. Then there's a firmament, great dome that encapsulates the flat earth and everything in it. They believe that the sun and the moon rotate around the outer edge of the disk. Debunkers are always like, there's not that many scriptures, it doesn't say, but there's actually a lot if you really start digging into it. NASA will tell you that the earth orbits around the sun, yet Joshua stopped the sun and the moon.
You have Hezekiah and the story of the sundial going backwards 10 degrees. Even in Genesis, where do you see God spin the earth and send it into orbit around something not even made for 4 days?
Right.
Because he doesn't make the sun until 4 days later in the creation account. Psalms 19, I think it's 1 through 6, for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as a strong man to run a race, is going forth, is from the end of the heaven, and then his circuit, which is speaking of the sun, unto the ends of the earth, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. Sounds like the sun is moving in a circuit or a circle, not the earth. You were bringing this up. There are over 60 scriptures that reference the sun, the moon, and the stars moving. And do you know how many references there are to the earth moving or spinning in an orbital or otherwise motion? How many? Kettle.
The earth is flat. The earth is flat. People were like, no, the sun is not local. How, if the earth is flat, how is the sun not lighting up all the earth? Because the sun is not as powerful as we've been told. Everything is like a lampshade or whatever. You put like a light and then you have a lampshade over it. Wherever you direct the lampshade, that's what lights up. That's probably how it is. And another thing I wanted to bring up is people were like, well, if the world is not round and water can't curve, then how do you guys believe in there being water above and water below, the firmament? I'm like, basically the planet is supposed to be made of water. And then, like I told you, the bucket theory, whatever, where you put your hand under the bucket and bring it up and there's dry land on your hand. So I would say God keeps the water the way it's supposed to be, and then puts the firmament within the midst of the waters and separates the waters from the waters and puts the land in the middle. I'm saying God would keep all that there. I mean, what else could do that? Because there's no gravity out in space, so what else could keep the water together like that? It would have to be a God. All I gotta say. So what else we got here? We're running short on time here, guys. Let's see what else I got for you.
If you're really concerned about truth, you gotta check an eagle at the door, okay? You do not know everything. A lot of you think you do, but you don't. I certainly don't. Through your school system, through your education that you're so proud of, that builds your whole ego, your whole value in life, it's impossible for you to discard it and admit you were deceived. Let me tell you something. You've been deceived. It's not your fault. You can let go of your ego.
Evil.
Nobody's going to laugh at you except other people that can't let go of their ego. But people that have caught on to the con and realized the power grab that's taken place, they're not going to laugh at you. They're going to welcome you. I'm telling you again, the worst thing they fear is the hive mind. The one thing they fear is 300 million people in the United States coming together on one topic and saying, this makes no sense. We need answers. Why is the flat earth so important? Because it shows the deception. There are enough reasonable questions to create reasonable suspicion that we've been lied to. They can't afford to keep being asked. Whether the earth actually turned out to be diamond-shaped, cross-shaped, pear-shaped, there's enough to see that it's not what we've been told. And once that is revealed, everything these governments have done becomes illegitimate. That is why it matters. And that is why they will do anything they can to keep us fighting, keep us distracted, keep us at odds against each other.
Yes.
Just like the entire world, whether it be Christians against Muslims, blacks against whites, government that truly has your best interest, your freedom at heart, or does it sound like a government that wants to keep you constantly busy on paying attention to anything but what they're doing? And this truth movement is no different. Because as soon as the topic starts going where everybody can actually make a stand and say, hey, wait a minute, this needs to be answered. This is a big one. And I don't care what anybody says, the flat earth, the shape of the earth, is the biggest conspiracy and has been used to manipulate, deceive, and control us all. If God forbid everybody came and started demanding answers, and once they can't provide those answers, people realize they are busted. It can't be a mistake. It can't be anything but the deception and control mechanism it is. Flat Earth is not a psyop. Flat Earth destroys the psyop. Every psyop that's been used to control us for as long as they've known about it. So this system has been in power and control for hundreds of years, ever since they convinced the rest of the world that they didn't know where they live, and created this fantastical scenario to make people feel insignificant and to follow those that appear to know better. They're just better liars, deceivers, that have no conscience, and will do everything and anything to everybody and anybody they can to keep that power.
All they care about.
Because people are waking up. And no matter how much they try to suppress this flat earth movement, oh, it's going to keep moving one way or another. You can see it. People are waking up. So now, louder than ever, I can hear that clock. Tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. It's a religion. It's all a religion. You know why? Because government is a religion. Government is the majority of the world's true God, because they believe that these people have some sort of power. And they've even convinced us that we've given it to them. They still have us convinced in 2015, the age of instant communication, that we, for some reason, need representatives in a city that's not even part of this country called Washington, D.C. to represent us. That in this age of instant communication, we can't represent ourselves for some reason. That's how deep the brainwashing and the indoctrination has gone. They still have you convinced that this government should be run on the same system it was run when people were back on horseback using telegraphs and Pony Express. That's why they had these representatives, had to go to Washington, so that they could go back home to this group of a few 100,000 people and say, well, what do you guys want? Okay, I'll go tell them. And they travel for a week to Washington, D.C. or however long it takes. That's why you needed representatives. Now I can push this button and talk to anybody in the world. What the fuck do I need a representative for? Because it's the power system, the control system. They have to keep indoctrinating you in schools, teaching you about everything and anything but where you live. Now they have to treat out all the money that was going into the educational system to control your mind isn't working anymore. People see how stupid everybody is. That is the failure of government. See, Flat Earth proves the failure of government, period. Because it's either deceived and lied and indoctrinated us all into a false system, or it's completely failed in making people realize if they really live on a globe, a lot of people don't see it. So your education system has failed now, hasn't it? In order to believe it, we've got to believe a bunch of math formulas that only a few people in the world can supposedly understand, and we've just got to take your word for it. Here in this age of all this technology where I can get on this phone, record this video, and send it out to the world, they can't seem to find a way to easily, simply prove to everybody on the planet where they live. It always depends on some formulas that the majority of the people don't understand. And again, the people that do understand it don't understand it. They either know it's bullshit or they believe it's bullshit because it's just religion and it's not proven. It's just twisted formulas to fit their agenda. It doesn't wash out in reality. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Yeah, that's their favorite line. Got a lot of people, what difference does it make? You can't figure out what difference it makes? If you can't figure out what difference it makes that the people running your world have fucking lied to you over and over your whole life, if you can't figure out that someone lying to you is trying to control you, suppressing of information, of knowledge, is control. Deception of information and knowledge is a form of control. So what difference does it make? It makes a big difference, because once they start omitting information or lying about information about where you live, they're doing it to control you. Period. Why am I having to explain this to critical thinkers in the truth movement? Where you live, it's been a lie the whole time, and if everybody would just come together and demand answers, they would be in checkmate. They would not know what the fuck to do. They cannot prove it. They can't prove the globe because it doesn't exist. So once you calling on it, they're done. You then remove them from power and go from there. That rips down all the other conspiracies. You then have access to all these top secret government files, the national security that they hide all the evidence under. The way you control billions of people is to keep them divided and fighting each other. So they focus on anything and everything but you and how you're controlling them all.
Truth. Well said. I just want to pray for a lot of people out there that just don't believe in God, because, the clock is ticking. A lot of people think that God's return is going to be in this lifetime. I feel like it is going to be in our lifetime. I really do. Because the great falling away is happening right now. Almost everything the Bible has predicted has gone on. Jesus' words are never wrong. They are always right. He fulfilled over 300 prophecies, which is impossible to do. He's going to come back, and the wheat is going to be separated from the chaff. And that's it. So I beg all of you and plead with all of you, please seek Jesus. He's the way, the truth, and the life. He is the only way. There is no other way to the Father except through him. Every other religion is satanic and false. Not even Catholic is the way. Just believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and follow the ways of Jesus. Follow the Bible. It was written by man. It was written by men inspired by our God. And it is the truth. The world is not round. It is flat. I just feel so bad for those people that just out there just like won't even take the chance to even look at it. They're like, no, it's round. Well, I got evidence right here. Go ahead and look at it. No. I feel so bad for those people. Like I said before, like I feel like some people are destined to go to the lake of fire. They will never change. And that sucks to say. I hate saying it, but it's the truth. I got some friends that I feel like are destined to go to lake of fire because they will not change. They will not put down the drugs. They will not put down the drink. They won't do it. They can't do it, is what they say. And I pleaded with them, and pleaded with them, and pleaded with them. They just won't do it. But I think that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back and watching my channel. I love absolutely every single one of you. And please go like and subscribe to my channel so you can get more videos just like this, so we can get this story out to others. I love you. I will always love you. I'm going to pray for you. And I need you to pray for me, even though I think I'm back up on the saddle where I belong. Let's just get these prayers going out to all of our brothers and sisters out there that are lost. I love you guys. Have a blessed day. Thank you for watching.